And welcome back to the Yacht Club Pointe Rouge. It's Match Race France and the first event on the 2011 World Match Racing Tour. I'm Mark Chisnall and I will be hosting the show this evening. This is a bonus special, an extra live session for you for the finals of this event. We'll be hearing from Tour Director Craig Mitchell and our on-the-water commentator Hannah White very soon. But first up is Rachel, who's going to keep us updated on what's happening on the blog, Twitter and Facebook. So quickly, Rachel, what's the chat?
On Facebook, Ulrika Monkey says, go Damien, go, keep cool. And on the blog, Guillaume says, in terms of strategy, I think that Yale's last race was a great one, certainly during the pre-start sequence. Whilst Alex says, allez les Français. On the blog, we asked our readers who will win the final of Match Race France, and the results at the moment, 83% for Damien Yale and 17% for Bertrand Passé. All right, massive support for Damien Yale, the young guy. It's an all-French final at Match Race France. If you want to chat with Rachel and be part of the show, there are lots of ways you can get in touch. On Twitter, follow @WorldMRT or use the hashtag WMRT. On Facebook, we are at www.facebook.com/World Match Racing Tour, and the email address is tv@WMRT.com. All right, it's day 4. There's a mistrial coming tomorrow. We've been expecting it for a while, and the race officers have been pushing on with the schedule. We finished the semi-finals earlier this afternoon, and this is how it went. Bertrand Passé beat Torvar Mirsky 3-2, and Damien Yale beat Jesper Radic 3-1. So, as I said, it's an all-French final. The Petite is underway. The breeze dropped out on us for a while. We had to wait to get a restart. But we know now that it's all happening, and I believe that we have Hannah White out on the water in one of the umpire boats this time, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm out here on the water with 2 umpires. They're just apologising for shouting. But no, I mean, it's a fantastic... We've just watched the first pre-start and the first start of the Petit final. Torvar Mirsky headed out to the right, and Jesper Radic headed out to the left. It was a fairly standard pre-start. And, well, if Jesper wanted the left-hand side, which is paid so often out on this racecourse this week, then he has got it. But Mirsky sticking by his guns and going absolutely miles away. He really is going right, so it'll be very interesting to see at that first cross. Meanwhile, we're on the featured race, the final, Passé and Yale, to decide this all-French final who will be crowned champion of the world of Match Race France. Passé entering from the port side, Yale entering from the starboard side. Passé getting a better entry and sailing a long way downwind. He might even get across from that port entry.
All right, so this we will stick with the final right through this evening here. It is obviously the most important race out here. We'll bring you updates when we can from the Petite final, but we're going to keep our cameras commentary trained on this pair, the 2 Frenchmen, Bertrand Passé, the Silver Fox, the match racing legend, world champion already, tour champion as well, and Damien Yale, the man who would be king. So Damien Yale chases Bertrand Passé out of the dial-up and into the box. Now, Hannah, I have 3 minutes. Is that what you've got on your clock?
Well, I actually don't have a clock, but yeah, I'd say you're about right. I've been so used to these sailors having clocks and calling out the time, and I've jumped on the umpire boat and left my watch behind, so silly. But Passé managing to get not going into that dial-up situation with EL on as they entered the box, and Passé sailing a long way back into that right-hand corner of their pre-start box. EL following them, quite light conditions out here still, 5 or 6 knots I'd say at the moment. Maybe a little more in the gusts, and just Passé and EL circling now.
2:20 I have, Hannah, so we've got a while before they'll turn back, I think. Although, as you say, it looks like they're pretty deep into the box, so the starboard advantage that Damien Yale had into this one, because of his higher ranking in the qualifying rounds, negated quickly by Bertrand Passé. Not much in the way of fireworks so far here.
No, not at all. I think both these guys playing it a little bit cool. It's obviously first to 2 points, so
no room for error.
Little bit of breathing space, but they'll both be keen to get one in this early match.
The Petite final also first to 2 points. Sun very soft. It's late in the evening here in Marseille. A little bit of breeze filled in. We're expecting a snorter later on, but that probably won't happen now till overnight. We thought at one point we might be sailing this in 20-25 knots this evening. it hasn't turned out that way. Forecast still 45 knots for tomorrow.
Here we go. Passe turned around. Oh my God, that was a very, very near collision of rigs. And that's a protest by EL umpires, and it's a penalty to Passe already. Not a great start for him in this pre-start.
No, absolutely. Passe picking up the early penalty. We'll see if we can get a comment on that from Craig. I'm sure your umpires are probably busy, but at some point, Hannah, they might be able to tell us what the deal was there.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't bother them for any information at the moment. They've still got a lot on. I've just seen Bertrand Passe actually take his lapel mic off. Obviously didn't want any of that recorded, what he was saying.
So it looks like Yale wants the left again, with 40 seconds to go, in a position to get it. Both boats slow at this stage.
EL turning towards Bertrand Passe now, trying to get behind him and force him back up over the start line. More flags, more shouting. Protest flag held by Damien EL.
He's definitely got the hook. Is Passe trying to avoid going over the line?
Lots of shouting.
I think
and it's a green flag.
It's a green, all right. Well, that's an interesting move, because Damien Yell had the left there if he wanted it, but he went for the penalty and has ended up with a pretty average start from where I'm sitting, Hannah.
Although will Passe be over the line? I'm not sure. No, he wasn't.
No, it's a clean start, so Yell went for the kill, and I don't think it's worked that well for him.
No, he's not looking best pleased, I have to say.
Oh, it's a risky risk. You're a penalty up. Why go for the full second penalty? Stamp on the guy's throat when you can sail off the line cleanly at the end that's worked for you all week. A penalty up, instead of which he went for the absolute knife in the ribs, and as a result he's now in deep trouble. He's behind Passe. He may be a penalty up, but this is game on again, Hannah. No,
absolutely. And as we saw, Torvar Mersky earlier had a penalty, and Upwind was in a very similar situation, about the same distance. And in fact, as Passe is over EL and managed to do his penalty and convert it and keep his lead, and Passe is in a position to do that at the moment.
Absolutely right. So we may see again the move that, as you said, the move that Mersky pulled. And that particularly if they get out to this right-hand side, where it's possible to do it on the starboard tack lay line and come back at the guy on starboard. So it's a boat speed race right now.
It was a very quick green flag though from the umpires, though. There didn't seem to be much discussion about it, so they were obviously very decisive on the fact that there was no infringement there of a rule, no penalty deserving.
No, indeed. And is it quiet enough now, do you think, for them to give us a immediate call on that penalty from the boat?
Yeah, let me just see if I can grab Miguel. Miguel, that penalty?
Sorry?
That penalty?
Yeah, we penalized the blue boat because they were windward boat. They bore away to try to pass behind the yellow. We thought it was too close and forced yellow to avoid, so it was a penalty on blue.
So that's
right.
Miguel there, umpire Miguel, just explaining his decision. Both boats now tack back onto starboard. Sorry, he went a bit quiet there at the end, because as the boats were tacking, he had to concentrate on doing his job, the main job he's doing out here, not talking to me. I mustn't distract them too much.
No, indeed, absolutely. We have to pick our moments. So they both flip onto starboard. Any sense of where you are in relation to the ley line, Hannah?
I'm just looking up the course to see if I can see the windward mark. And they're still a long way off the ley line.
All right, so plenty of golf still in this hole as we watch Radic and Mersky in the Petit final coming back downwind at the end of their run.
Yeah. Do we know who rounded that mark first of Radic and Mersky?
We can get a quick update from Craig, yes?
Yep, we've got Jesper Radic has got the lead in the other match. It's actually a very commanding lead, and he's they're heading into towards the leeward mark now, and it's looking good for Jesper Radic.
Interestingly, Radic went left, which is the side that's been playing all week, so Mersky going out right obviously didn't work for him. And yes, I can see it now, them both going into the bottom mark, and Craig, you're absolutely right, Radic does have a good commanding lead, as does Bertrand Passe in this first race of the final here at Match Race France.
Oh dear. Torvar, the man who picks up too many seconds from finals and too many fourths from petit finals, is in trouble again. So we'll see how that plays out. Fortunately, it's best first of 2 points, so he's got another shot at it if he loses this one. And right now, Damien Yell, the spectators' favourites, winning winning the pole by a substantial margin, is also looking pretty deep compared to Bertrand Passé. Passé with the penalty, but still.
Yeah, Damien's a little bit further to the right than Passé at the moment. Obviously just wanted to get some clear air and regroup, but as it looks at the moment, it's definitely going to be Passé that rounds on the mark. Passé rapidly approaching his port lay line there.
Much better conditions here than we finished the semi-finals in. The breeze is up, the guys are hiking again. It's not tiptoeing around in ballet shoes as it was in the first, in the final race of the semis.
Passé now tacking onto lay for the windward mark, and he's going to pass a long way in front of Damien Yeo.
So
I have to say we're right behind him now, and I'm not quite, he's going to have to pinch up a little bit. I think he's not quite made that lay line. Oh no, he's just a bit of breeze on coming up now, looking a little bit better, but certainly Bertrand Passé with the lead at the moment, going to round this windward mark on the first lap of this race first, with Damien Yeo a good 2 or 3 boat lengths behind, maybe even more.
Seen Damien Yeo come from behind before though, so it's not over yet by a long way.
No, and Passé of course still has a penalty outstanding.
A gap right now, so if we start the stopwatch, that's Bertrand Passé round. I think they probably need a good 20-25 seconds in these boats to get the penalty done.
Yeah, it was
and
a nice...
it's about 10 seconds right now to back to Damien Yeo, so yeah. It's still everything to play for right now.
Very, very nice set on Damien Yeo's boat.
Yeah, whoever's pulling that spinnaker up has got some done some work in the gym.
Yeah, he has.
Is that the guy that keeps kissing you, Hannah?
No, it's not, sadly.
Oh well.
So Damien Yeo now sailing, sort of, as you said, it was about 10 seconds between them. It's probably 4 or 5 boat lengths at the moment behind Bertrand Passé.
It's a marginal attacking position here for Damien Yeo on the simultaneous jibe.
Any thoughts, Mark, onto when Passé will try and complete his penalty? I know Craig was talking earlier about the advantage of doing it on an upwind leg.
I think with this smaller gap, you're looking to do it at the finish at the moment. You know, he's going to at this point work to extend, and actually it's probably not enough right now. So we'd be looking for some final leg action to try and maybe offset the penalty rather than actually get it done at the finish. So I think we've got plenty to come here if the gap's the same when they round the windward mark next time.
So Damien Yeo just trying to keep in touch with current race leaders Bertrand Passé, with the hope that when Passé has to complete his penalty, he will regain the lead.
Or alternatively, of course, Hannah, Passé will come back, will slow down, wait for Damien Yeo, and try to create an incident, to provoke an incident, to offset the penalty. We might see that at the windward mark next time around as well. And meanwhile, that's going on before they get down to the leeward mark. I think Craig's got a nice update for us on the top match. Yeah,
we had a big split with Mirsky peeling off right and Radic holding on to the left, but they've just come back together, and it's Mirsky who's now taken the lead. He's just tacked on the lee bow of Jesper Radic, and they're just trying to get themselves up to the windward mark, but it's a turnaround. It's Mirsky ahead. Fantastic. So a pass in the petite final for Torvar Mirsky, coming back from a first leg disadvantage to lead at the final mark. So they're onto the run. Great sailing from Torvar Mirsky and his boys. I think we'll have a quick update on the social media from Rachel.
Yeah, on the blog, Sarah, wife of Jesper Radic, says, "Can you give my husband a hug from me, please?"
I'm sure Rachel will be happy to do that. All right, we're back, I think, to the featured race then, and you, Hannah, how's it going?
Yeah, Passé has just rounded that bottom mark nice and smoothly. Eel doing a nice early drop, coming in with quite a lot of pace. Passé's lead has extended to about 13-14 seconds now, so still not enough, we don't think, for Passé to complete his penalty turn. And Damien Yeo opting to go out right, which is the side that obviously favoured Torvar Mirsky on the last beat. Passé following him, not taking any risks.
No, but Passé needs to extend. He really does need to extend. 13 seconds isn't enough to get this penalty done, I don't think. Although from a neutral point of view, I'd have to say. We'd be happy to see the fireworks on the final leg if Yale can close it up a little bit. Or, of course, a move at the top mark here, which is the other opportunity to get both boats beyond the mark and get the penalty in as you turn back to it.
Damien Yale tacking back onto a starboard tack, and Bertrand Passé, interestingly, not going with him. Bertrand Passé extending out to the right-hand side.
All right, so Damien Yale backing the left. That's worked for him all week here. And Bertrand Passé backing the judgment. I think he's done well on the right here a couple of times this afternoon, so, and he knows he needs a bigger gap. It's very, very hard to get the penalty off on the final leg. It really is the last resort. So Passé will be happier to extend and then try and do the penalty at the finish around the pin, which is the most efficient way of doing it. You can be absolutely dead certain that you, as soon as the bow comes down, you cross the line. Otherwise, it takes a little bit more judgment to make sure that you don't end up sailing downwind to the line without spinnaker up. All right, Passé tacks. Damien Yale tacks, and we'll get some sense as they come back together of how big that gap is again on this second beat.
It actually looks like Bertrand Passé has had slightly better breeze over the last couple of minutes over on the right-hand side of the course. So as Damien Yale comes back towards him for the cross, it will be interesting to see if Passé has extended or not.
All right, Hannah, I think we've got a finish coming up in the other match as well. It's getting very close. We'll just go over to that if we can and have a look and see how that's going to go. So this is the Petit final, and there is Torvar Mirsky still leading Jesper Radek. Somewhere here there's a committee boat, there it is, and what colour is that flag going to be? It's yellow on the back of Mirsky's boat. He's completed the jibe. It looks like he's going to pull a yellow one up to me, but yes, there it is. Torvar Mirsky gets the first race of the Petit final. Alright, we'll swap back as quick as we can to our featured race in the final. Mirsky goes up 1-0, and can Bertrand Passé do the same thing? He's got the lead, but he's a penalty down.
Passé still very much have the lead in this final race at the moment. They just came back, and Yale was forced to tack back out, trying to stay out of phase with Bertrand Passé. But Passé, his lead has extended, there's no question, but has it extended enough? We shall see at this top mark. I'll set my stopwatch.
Yeah, we've got all those watches ready to go here as well, Hannah, so
Bertrand Passé now coming up, tacking onto port for this final mark rounding, final windward mark rounding. So here we go. Bertrand Passé going for the hoist. Slightly late on that hoist, actually. It seemed like Baumann had a small problem with the halyard caught round a spreader. So slightly late.
I make that just 10 seconds,
yeah,
Hannah.
No, I was wrong.
Oof.
He hasn't extended at all.
No, it's all on here. I think Passé's going to have to come back unless he can somehow get a split here.
Bertrand Passé just having a sip of water, trying to keep his nerve, looking back.
He's slowing down. And here we go. All right, now it all gets complicated. The fireworks start. I've got my rules analyst here beside me, Mr. Craig Mitchell, tour director. Will be helping with this one. Passé slowing down. He's going to try and trap Damien Yale into a penalty. And he's decided to do it really early, so we're right at the top of the run. We've got a whole run's worth here to try and get this penalty off.
Here we go. 6
shooters out, boys. It's all going to happen.
Bertrand Passé desperately trying to slow down, trying to keep my ears open, trying to hear what the umpires are saying.
So what
Damien Yale going for the jibe onto starboard. Oh no. Yeah.
Yale needs to match every move and not get trapped on one side. He's looking to roll Passé. Passé is looking to get him trapped into a luff so that Passé can tack round and get the penalty off during the luff and then turn back downwind and still hopefully hold the lead. So here is the luff, trying to get Damien trapped on one side or the other. Yale will know all about this game. He needs to keep his pace on.
They're pretty much inside the ley line now, so...
They're at or inside the ley line, Hannah?
say just approaching the ley line now.
All right. Lots of feints and dummies. Passé looking to get Yale trapped one side or the other. Yale looking to make sure he's clear water between that bowsprit and the stern. This is when you don't need the spinnaker filling at the wrong moment, giving you half a knot extra speed when you actually want to slow down.
It's all going on out here.
It's cat and mouse. Full attention from the umpires. They could decide this now.
Oh, Bertrand Passé going for a jibe, bit of a twist in his spinnaker.
Oh, might be the moment for Damien Yale.
Damien Yale going for the jibe too. Both boats heading towards the mark now on lay. Damien Yale
He's tucked in
accelerating
nicely
hard.
to leeward.
Yeah. Umpires getting in a better position. Should probably judge the overlap.
I have to say, Yale's doing a great job of controlling the speed of this down here. Passé now can't jives back to port without much in the way of rights.
Bertrand Passé trying. Rapidly approaching this mark. It's going to be spinnakers down before the mark and heading up a little bit.
It's the finish. We're coming down to the finish line here.
Oh, yes, sorry. Second lap, aren't we?
Yep, this is it. This is where it all happens. Claim for a penalty. I hear a whistle, but
no,
I think that's
Damien
very
Yale
ambitious.
just trying.
Very ambitious. Yale controlling his speed beautifully down here, just forcing the game slowly to the finish line, not allowing himself to get trapped one side or the other. Bertrand Passé. Passé doing everything he can to slow it down and just give himself one last opportunity to take Yale to windward. I don't think it's going to happen though. Passé's going to have to do this penalty. Yep, he's going to have to do this penalty on the line. It's
Jib going up on both boats. I mean, they've got a long way to come back up to get over the finish line here, Mark.
Yeah. Everybody else out there watching this one. The spinnaker's coming down.
Damien Yale coming up. Umpires' voices picking up. Heights down on both boats.
Spinnaker drop. Yale looking to go over Passé while he tacks around and get down.
Damien Yale now dipping down and behind Passé. Both bowsprits in, of course.
The question
now
is whether Damien Yale has room at that, can claim room at that boat. That's what Passé's trying to do, is trap him going inside there when he has no rights. And he's got him locked outside the committee boat. Or has he? Yale luffs up. If he can get past him to windward now. There comes the luff. This is going to be the moment, one way or the other.
Bertrand Passé has tacked into port now. Protest flags going up.
Yeah,
and he's going for a blue flag.
Yeah, Passé has tacked and gets the penalty. It's 2 blues. Damien Yale will win.
Bertrand Passé just squeezed himself into a little bit of a corner there against the committee boat and came up head to wind, tried to sit head to wind and just went a little bit too far and tacked onto port.
And once he'd tacked, he of course had no rights at all and picked up the second blue penalty. He tried very hard.
Massive celebrations on Damien Yale's
I bet.
boat. That was a tough race for them and they did well, they held their nerve.
They are 1-0 up, that's fantastic. So perhaps you can get alongside them for a quick interview with Damien, Hannah.
Yes, yeah, we will try.
All right, lovely work there. We've got a call, I think, from on the umpire from the penalty, and we perhaps get that from Craig in a moment while you try and get alongside.
Do you want me to have a quick word with the umpire boat, Mark?
If you've
as I'm on
got
board?
yes, if you can, yeah.
Okay.
I guess he's not got much to do now, so we can hear from the umpire himself.
No. Guys, would one of you mind talking me through that? Alfredo. Busy race for you.
For both. But, like I told yesterday, that is what we want, what we expect for a final of the World Match Racing Tour in Marseille.
So 2 blue flags for Bertrand Passé. Can you just talk me through both incidents?
Yeah, the first one, obviously Passé want to try to pass behind Yale, but Yale was waiting for that, so he left before the other boat tried to bearing away, so we penalized for not keeping clear. And the second one is typical match racing situation. Passé tried to slow down because he has no room enough to take the penalty. So he tried to, like we say, manage a mark trap around the race committee. But obviously went too close and he could not fetch the race committee. And he go through at wind. So he was attacking boat. He must keep clear. Yell, fly, flew the white flag, and we had no other option than give another blue penalty. I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell will be not happy for that.
Yes, Craig Mitchell there will comment for you from Alfredo, the chief umpire. But for now, that was a great explanation from Alfredo, and I'm going to try and jump on board and try and find Damien Yell and get a little comment from him.
Okay, we've got a boat swap here, of course, as well to do. It's the end of flight 1. We swap at the end of flight 1. Actually, that's the only swap for this one, because it's just to 2 points. We swap on the odd flights on the World Match Racing Tour in the knockout round. So we have the results there for Rachel.
Okay, so it's Passé 0, Yao 1 in the final, and in the Petit final, it's Mirsky 1, Radic 0.
And both those matches are the first to 2 points, so this is now decisive. It gets decisive very quickly in this format, and obviously it's pretty late in the day. It's just after 6 o'clock here in France, if you're watching anywhere else in the world. Beautiful, soft Mediterranean, early summer light. Cameraman will be very happy about this. It looks fabulous out there. Anna, how are you doing with getting aboard with Damien?
Yeah, I'm good. We're just heading up to speak to Damien now. I just heard from the umpires that, in fact, they're going to start this. I don't know if you've heard, sorry, I might have missed it. They're going to start the Petit finals, let them have their own start and their own race, and then continue with the finals, I believe.
Okay, that sounds fine. It will certainly move things on a little quicker. So
let me see.
Carry on, sorry.
I'm just going to jump on board with Damien for 2 minutes and hope the umpires will come and pick me up in a second. Ooh. Damien, 1-0. Oh, what? Okay, 1-0 in this final.
Yeah, it's a very nice match, a very tough match, because Bertrand is a very good sailor and it's very difficult. But you finish the first, and it's very good for the future, and you stay very concentrated, very concentrated for the next match.
Yeah, I mean, very hard. You had to really concentrate there, keep your, keep cool.
Yeah, keep cool. But it's difficult because the condition is very difficult, and the last match, it's a very good pressure, not so very strong, not very low. It's perfect.
And you feeling confident?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. Okay, I'm going to leave Damien to it. I'm going to jump back on board with the umpires now, and we'll get the next final race underway.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Hannah. I've got Craig Mitchell here. Just his thoughts on those two penalties. They look pretty fair to me. Craig?
Yeah, I think they're pretty clear. We've had some questions on the blog about them. Why wasn't it a red flag? Bertrand seemed to kind of get away and be ahead after the penalty. But I think Damien was in control for most of the pre-start, and the incident wasn't one where Bertrand took control, I don't believe. So there was obviously no red flag there.
Yeah.
And then down the run, they were.
Just before we go on to the second one, that is always a tricky judgment, isn't it? It's the passing of control, whether or not someone has got full control in the pre-start and then loses it through the penalty or not. It's an interesting and slightly grey area, really. It's a
very grey area when you're moving from delayed penalty into either a red penalty or a double penalty. And it is a tricky one. I
understand you're not a big fan of the double penalty.
No. The double penalty kills the match. So yeah.
Much better to give a red, which is you have to do it immediately, and keeps the game on. Really,
just keeps the game on. I mean, but there are some situations where a double penalty has to be given, just simply because of what the
outrageous behaviour.
Outrageous behaviour, I think.
Double penalties for outrageous behaviour only. That's official from the tour director. All right, the second one, downwind on the run. Fairly classic situation again there.
Yeah, it's you either decide to get far enough ahead or you attack backwards, and hopefully you'll be able to offset the penalty. Bertrand was doing a very nice job, I thought. Got Damien outside the committee boat, so all the rights are with Passé. But then it looked like he just misjudged his turn back up and ended up tacking when he was trying to clear the committee boat. And because he's then attacking boat, he's keep clear. He put himself there, and Damien's on starboard. So
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Passe has to get the game both past the committee boat and far enough away from it to get back round it without going onto port tack. Because as soon as he does that, he's basically toast, isn't he?
Exactly. Or another trick is to get the guy outside you to tack with you. Yeah. Because as soon as you both tack, you then tack back again and go to a downwind course, then the
penalty's cleared and it's just first across the line again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the hardest manoeuvre out there.
You don't see it done very often, I have to say. Going back to wipe the penalty off is a rare manoeuvre. I can't remember one from the whole of last year. I saw a lot of people try it, and I can't remember anyone doing it.
I've seen a few.
You've been doing this for a bit longer than me, though, Craig. Despite the massive difference in our ages, it's not easy in America's Cup boats either, which is where most of my match racing has come from, I have to say.
Yeah. It's even harder there.
Yeah, a lot harder. All right, so that's getting penalties off. The 2 incidents in that race, so plenty of action. I think back out on the water, I understand that we're going to go with the Petit final first, and I think that may well be underway. So we can move back out to the water at some point. There we go. All right, so we have Mirsky and Radic in grey and yellow. I don't see any flags up, and I've kept Craig busy, so he's got no idea what's going on either. And I'm sure we'll get hold of either the race committee or we'll get Hannah back online very soon. Now, no, it doesn't look like there's much happening at the moment. So, as I say, there was always going to be a boat swap here. This would be the pause in the action. We'll keep the cameras on the flag so we can catch up with what's happening. So after the boat swap, we're going to have Torvar Mirsky with the yellow mainsail and Jesper Radic in grey. Mirsky with the blue entry, the port hand entry, and Jesper Radic coming in with the stronger starboard side. So that's Mirsky had the starboard entry in the first match as a result of winning the qualifiers. All right, coming right into a sequence here. I think we're going to get, there it is, that's a 5-minute gun. Okay, so the 7 had been up and down again at 6. And I got the tip off there just in time. So we have a 5 for the Petit final. We'll stick with this until the action starts in the final. You can see Bertrand Passe just completing his boat swap there. The mainsail has to be lowered to put the name, the velcroed name plate on the main. All right. Looking pretty good out there, I have to say. I think this breeze is filling back in. This may finally be the sky's clearing as well, which is the other good sign for clearing breeze with a Mistral coming. And we're into the entry. All right, I think we've got Hannah back out on the water.
Yep, here I am, still back out on the water. We're going into, as you said, Mark, we're going into that pre-start now for the Petit Finals race. I'm on board with 2 umpires, and we are going to be covering the final race, but we're just sort of upwind of, or just behind the committee boat, and watching this quite exciting pre-start, Mark. I can't really see it because there's a boat's in the way. I don't know if you can see it. I think they're in a dial-up at the moment.
They are, yeah. Jesper Radic was a little late, looked from here anyway, a little late with his entry at the boat, but Mirsky didn't manage to get across his bow. They've turned into the dial-up, and Radic is forced away quite quickly onto port. Mirsky will accelerate after him and keep the gap down. So Radic leads out to the right hand side with Mirsky on his tail. All so conventional so far.
I have to say, Mark, we've seen some very, very different conditions out here. We've seen it being very light. We've seen some slightly stronger breeze building, and I know there's a Mistral on the way, but right now it is absolutely glorious out here. Yeah,
it does look fantastic. It does. And we may obviously shut this down here if we get to 2-0 matches, but I hope we can keep this breeze building through the rest of the evening sailing here. Fantastic conditions to finish this Match Race France. When we finished it last year, it was very, very late and very light on the Sunday evening, and we've got much better conditions for this tonight.
I'm just going to ask Alfredo just to talk us through the action that's going on in this petit final pre-start. Alfredo, tell us what you can see.
No, just that Torva want to block Jasper on the right hand side, and at the moment he's in good position, and we're just waiting the last minute. How long is 2 minutes 25 seconds to go? Distance to the line is about 25-30 seconds, full speed straight. Breeze is built up, so should be a lot of action now.
Fantastic, somebody that certainly knows a lot more about this than I do, so it's good to hear from Alfredo.
It's another situation where the guys need to recalibrate the building breeze. The boats are going to be quicker, the time to the line will be different. They've got to make sure they don't get there early, that they don't lead back with too much time to burn and get themselves in trouble. So I think we're getting close to the point 145 on my watch, where we're going to see someone choose to lead and someone choose to chase. And generally the rule is, in light air you're better off leading, and in a breeze you're better off pushing. And I'd say we're probably somewhere on the pushing side of that crossover. 1 minute 30.
If this guy comes down, and when this boat tries to do this, he come up, it's just call it pushing. He won't clearly the right.
Right, Alfredo there just explains to me what he thinks is going to happen in this pre-start, and well, we'll wait and see. It depends who wants the right and it depends who wants the left.
Torvar Murski coming down to do the pushing, but not trying that hard. As Jesper Radek turns up. Got 50 seconds left.
Murski sailing quite deep and quite fast, trying to keep umpires here thinking Torvar wants the right.
Yep, certainly not making any effort to get the hook onto Radek and force him the other side. So 30 seconds. Radek just has an overlap. He can force Murski away to the boat if he wants to. I have just 18 seconds. They're both quite close to the line. Murski tacking. Radek goes with him. Ooh, they were very close to the line, obviously.
Yeah, they were, and Murski didn't have enough room to tack, so had to go round for the jive.
Just 5 seconds.
Murski got some nice pace on here.
And there's the gun. Alright, so Murski ends up with the left, even though he looked like he wanted the right. Jesper kind of grabbing control towards the end there. It does all happen very fast in these little lightweight boats, especially in breeze. And we come off the line. Flat out hiking from everyone involved. Two young, fit crews here.
Yeah, the breeze is building all the time, actually.
Yeah, I think it's only just going to get stronger from here. Jesper Radek with a couple of Adam Minoprio's boys on board this year. They know all about winning world championships as well. Minoprio moved on to the Volvo Ocean Race. So it's a speed burn right now.
Both boats now head to wind. Murski came up for the luff.
So Radek matching Murski's every move. I said there's two of Minoprio's guys, Nick Blackman and Dave Sweet. They know all about this guy. Two teams that hit the tour at the same time, made a big impact, first and second in 2009. They've sailed an awful lot of matches against each other. Radek not giving Murski an inch of room.
No, and actually Radek from here looking like he's extended a little bit. Definitely Radek in control at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Radek obviously keen to get the ley line, get the game out to the ley line on the right hand side, shut down Torvar Murski's options. Dummy tack there from Murski, desperate, just as desperate to get a split going. And you pay a price for those in feet and inches, but you do get some leverage, and you just generally don't get past a guy without some leverage. So
just seeing the windward mark now, it's a pretty short course out here for this petit final.
Yep, and plenty of breeze too, so it's all going to happen quite quickly here.
Yeah, Radek not far off the ley line, Murski probably on the ley line now.
There's the windward mark. Yes, Radek looks to have worked hard enough to extend this lead in here that he had off the line.
Just been asked by the umpire who won this first match. It was Mirsky, wasn't it?
It was indeed Torvar Mirsky, yes. So right now we would level this one and go to a third and decisive race for the petite final. Those thirds and fourths, I was saying earlier that Torvar Mirsky just didn't pick up enough third places out of these situations last year, and also came second when he had his chances in the finals twice, I think, in Denmark and in Portugal. So he will be very, very anxious to turn that around and get off on the right foot at the tour.
Jesper Radek now rounding the windward mark, hoisting his spinnaker.
He certainly came in fast there. I think they were overstood. Radek getting the game out to the right hand side. A little better hoist, I think, perhaps from Mirsky's boys.
You can see how much the breeze has picked up, because these guys really steaming downwind now, managing to pick up a few of the little waves.
Just had a quick look down at the pre-start area, and there doesn't seem to be much going on. Okay, I've got an update actually, Hannah, from Craig on the featured match, on the final.
The final's not going to start until after this petite race has finished. So the next flight after this one is going to have 2 matches, and that's then make sure that the last race of the event is the final.
Which is always a good idea. I feel it should finish with the final.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. All right, and there's probably a better way of doing it than just having a one-race petite final, which always seems a little harsh for something as important as third and fourth. There's a lot of points at stake there in the tour for those two places. Not much in the way of attacking options here for Torvar Mirsky at the moment, Hannah.
No, not at all. No. Not much that Mirsky can do from the position that he's in now. It's a very, very short course, and race committee obviously deliberately done that just to make sure we get everything done before the breeze builds too much. But it's amazing how much these little J80s pick up and start going with just a couple more knots of breeze.
Did I miss something, or did they get down there in one, pretty much?
No, they did, I think. And they committee boats now signalling a change of windward mark, which would indicate that they did get down there in one. So we're now going to the orange mark, which is further over to the left.
Right.
Oh, very sloppy drop there by Torvar Mirsky, unfortunately. Spinnaker in the water, not good. Radek now with a 2.5 boat length lead.
And you could argue that it was a slightly sloppy drop that cost him a place in the final too. That final leeward mark in very light air, he needed to come out of that really slick and fast to be able to shut down Bertrand Passet's options if he wanted to tack out to the right, and he didn't have the speed to go with him. Always a difficult situation when you lead around a mark in light air, and Mirsky made it worse for himself with a little bit of confusion over which side the spinnaker was coming down. Looking a little untidy there too. They'll be disappointed about these boys. They pride themselves on their crew work and their teamwork. They've been together a very, very long time. Radek with the foot on the throat right now.
Mark, you can, if Craig's listening, you can tell him that he was actually spot on with his weather forecast this morning, that when this Mistral conditions came, the sea state would build from out to sea, and it really is building all the time.
We might just get a foam up yet for the last race of the final. Mirsky again wriggling to get free, not to get trapped out on the ley line, but it's a very short course and the options are small and getting smaller. Radek starting to play a slightly looser cover, growing confidence perhaps in his situation here. He'll just be happy if he can hit Torvar one last time on the final approach to the mark and either force him to overstand by a couple of lengths or eat dirty air all the way into the mark. Now, that looks like the one on the face. I'd say Radek must be pretty close to the ley line now, Hannah.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at it from here, it looks like he is. It's a little bit hard to tell given the angle that we're in this umpire boat at the moment, but I'd say he certainly wasn't far off it for sure.
Guess we'll find. No, he isn't. He isn't there yet. He's happy to go back again to make sure he hits Torvar before the final approach to the mark.
Torvar's still going as well, so he obviously not thinking he's quite on the ley line yet, so they must be going to go happy to go a little bit further. Torvar tacking now, so I imagine that would be the ley line there. Expecting to see Jesper Radek tacking back on the ley line.
Yeah,
now.
It's not a bad idea to go a little bit short, and then you give Jesper Radek, in Torvald's situation, go a little bit short of the ley line, and then you give Jesper Radek the choice of going with you as you hitch back up to it, or just letting you go. But they're quite close now. It's not going to be that painful for Torvald.
Jesper Radek just extended on his lead a little bit up this second windward leg. It's probably now up to 3 boat lengths, 3.5 boat lengths. So
let's see how they go with the hoist here. Pressure all the time.
Bit of a twist in his spinnaker for Jesper Radek, but out it pops as Torvald Murski rounds the bottom mark, goes for a hoist, much cleaner hoist.
They're getting that spinnaker down, or the way it's coming into the boat at the bottom mark. Although it looked untidy, it went down a little bit more cleanly than Jesper's and came back up more cleanly without the twist in it. No opportunity in these boats when you need everyone flat out hiking to go down below and run the tapes, as they say, which is just to go down the edges of the spinnaker to make sure there's no twist before you rehoist out of the hatch. This is going to be over quite quickly, isn't it, Hannah? They're smoking down here now.
Yeah, absolutely storming down this last downwind leg. And not much that Torvald Murski can do, I don't think.
No. A resignation in your voice there, Hannah. Well, it means we're going to get another match, so that's the upside here. We're going to see this go to a decider. From a neutral point of view, we should...
And rightly so. These two guys are top sailors, and they deserve all the airtime that they get.
Absolutely.
Quite surprising not to see either one of them in the final, to see them both in the putty final. If I was a betting girl, I would have bet that at least one of them would have been in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another name that's missing that's a surprise is Ian Williams, of course, who didn't even make the quarters here. Last year that role was Peter Gilmore's. He didn't make the quarters here. It's a tough game, match racing. You have to be on it the whole time. There is really no room for an error. One lost race that you shouldn't have lost gives you 5 points instead of 6, and all of a sudden you're in a big tie break for the 8th spot in the quarter-final, and actually you're going home. Jesper Radek looking to close this out and turn it to 1-1 and force a decider. Torvald Murski jibing hard, trying to make something happen. But it isn't going to be easy. It's almost done. The fat lady is warming up.
Jesper Radek just sailing his last approach to the finish line now. Wait for that yellow flag to raise, meaning Jesper Radek has won this race. We'll go to another race to decide this putty final.
All right, it's yellow. It's Jesper Radek. It's 1-1. There will be a flight 3 in the petite final. So I think we will start them first. Is that right, Craig? I've caught him on the hop. Finally, I've caught him on the hop. I've been trying that all week, and I've caught him on the hop.
Yeah, they'll go back to the order they had. So it'll be the petite final off first, and then the final off second.
All right. So we've got no boat swaps to do.
No boat swaps. I'll just go and talk to Philippe and see if we can get a time out of him, and then we'll be underway.
Excellent. In the meantime, we'll keep that camera trained on the committee boat. So as soon as anybody so much as twitches towards a flag and a hoist, we should know about it. Of course, we've got Hannah out there as well, who hopefully can see all these things and might even get a tip off from the umpires. So
I'll keep my eyes and ears tuned for you.
Jolly good. All right. So what do you think, Hannah? You a betting girl, Damien El or Bertrand Passé?
It's got to be El. It's been on fire all week.
He has. It was certainly the favourite on the blog. I think it was 89% or something like that. So that's who the spectators think is the man. Certainly coming into this, he was the form guy. And we've seen him come from behind before. I think, I can't remember if it was the semis or the quarters now, but he's been down and pulled it level and then taken the match.
Such different characters as well. Bertrand Passé, you know, very... He never gives anything away. He's always got his game face on, and you'd never see him celebrating if he won a race. But Damien El, the first to high-five his crew and celebrate when he's doing well. So very, very different characters out here on the water.
Might be a generational thing, Hannah. Us oldies are, you know, much more reserved type. We grew up in a conservative age, not like you youngsters.
Oh, well, you know.
So they don't look like they're going to start anything anytime soon on that committee boat, I have to say. Craig's got his radio out the window trying to get some signal to the committee boat and find out if we can get a time for everyone. Don't see any good reason why we shouldn't be underway shortly, I have to say.
There's somebody on the committee boat just talking to Alfredo, chief umpire here. Not sure what about. We're going into sequence at 34 by all accounts.
All right, well that is less than a minute away on my watch. So it's going to happen very soon.
There you go, hot off the press.
Absolutely hot off the press. I just got it from Craig as well, I think. Into sequence at 34. So 7 minute will be first. They got the foul weather gear on yet,
normal
Hannah,
sequence for everyone. Sorry, Mark, I was talking over you,
That's
but
right.
normal sequence for everyone. They're being told. So straight back into the putty final as flight 1, I would think.
That's right. Yeah, they will do the petit first.
Just going around all the boats, telling them, all the skippers telling them, make sure there's no confusion.
No, it would be a bad time to have confusion. Well, I have 6:34 on my watch, and I don't see a flag yet, so I guess they decided to leave it a little longer. Make sure everybody's clear about what's going to happen next.
Sea State definitely picking up here. We've even got a kite surfer out, so you can tell how much the breeze has picked up out here. There's some Olympic windsurfers training as well, so much better conditions out here. I'm even going to have a word with the umpires. They're getting me wet. Lots of splashing coming in from the waves now.
I hope you took your foul weather gear out this time, Hannah.
Yeah, I'm afraid I think it's probably on the chair next to you at the moment.
Oh yeah, so it is.
Oh well, the sun's shining, I can't
Well,
complain.
I can put it on for you. Still. And we're all done soon. There we go. And it sounds like Manchester City won the FA Cup final, of interest to us Brits. Obviously beating Stoke City. Our CEO of the tour is a big Man City fan. He was there at the game. He will be having a very, very joyous night. 7 minutes for the petit final. Flight 3 and then flight 2 of the final. Just looking at, I would be if I could find it, Bertrand Passé's win-loss for last year, but it's not here. I thought I had it. Oh, no, here it is. I do have it. 42%, that's right. 42% strike rate last year, and here he is. 1-0 up in the final. So,
one thing that I've
sorry,
noticed out
1-0
here.
down. What am I
Sorry,
talking
can
about?
I just? One thing that I've noticed out here is the amount of female umpires. Alfredo, were you in charge of hiring all the female umpires out here that we've got on the course?
No comment. In charge of the umpire, not the female umpire. Same practice.
There you go. He's saying he's in charge of all the umpires, not just the female umpires out here. But
You cannot say on the mic, but when you are with him, just say Principino said bloody Daisy. He knows what I mean.
here we go. Gun obviously coming up. There it is. A 5 minute. All right. 1 minute to the entry for the decisive match in the petite final. Jesper Radic versus Torvar Murski. Jesper Radek in the grey boat, Torvar Murski in yellow with the starboard entry. So a small advantage to Torvar Murski in this entry, although keeping these boats in a dial-up for very long in these kind of conditions is going to be very, very tough indeed. So I suspect that advantage will be negated quite quickly, and we'll see some circling out to the right, but I've been wrong before. Here we go, different view of the start line there from our camera. Pin's been moved up to accommodate this right hand wind shift. And into the dial up. Radek on the left, Torvar Murski on the right looking upwind. Radek will be looking to close the gap. Have you got a view of this one, Hannah?
Yeah, they're just dead upwind of me at the moment actually, so both boats separated by about a boat length.
Murski getting his boat going backwards quite quickly.
Yeah, Torvar Murski trying desperately to stay. Obviously it's quite a lot harder when the as the waves are picked up, it's quite a lot harder to keep these boats head to wind. Now, and Torvar Murski doing quite a nice job of going backwards. Jesper Radek is about to break onto port tack. There he goes. Murski braking as well onto port.
It looks from here as though Murski will have control, but we'll see what the camera...
Radek's quite a lot faster than Murski there, able to just sneak behind, and
the angle very illusory once again.
Radek right on Murski's tail. Hasn't quite got an overlap, but it's very close.
So nice job by Jesper Radek out of the dial-up, chasing Torvar Murski deep into the box.
He just had better pace, no question. Still does.
Yep, no room for error for either of these guys. This is decisive.
Jesper Radek really upped his gear on the aggression front. He looks like he is out to close this Située finals for once and for all.
Yeah, both of these guys sailing very, very early. In fact, their regattas have had a very similar pattern. They both had a bit of a wobble early on in the qualifiers and then came very, very strong, only to come unstuck in the semis and find themselves in the petit final.
I wonder how much of that is down to the boats and these French guys being a lot more experienced in these J80s.
Yep, it will be the second year on the trot that has been won by a Frenchman. Of that we can be sure. Matthew Richard last year.
Penalty flag being held up by Jesper Radek. Couldn't quite see what it was for, and it's green flagged.
Radek pointing at the umpire, giving it plenty at this stage. Murski turning to go back. 1 minute 6 seconds on my watch. We're into the end game here of this pre-start. There's the 1 minute gun. We've lost the pin in the spectator fleet. I think there it is, right up by the red boat actually. So they're pretty deep in the box from where I'm sitting. Hannah, is that how it looks to you?
Sorry, Mark.
They look quite deep, quite a long way back from the line.
Yeah, they've still got quite a way to go to the line. I'm not sure how much time they've got left. It can't be long.
It's 30 seconds.
Both boats going full pace now, and you know, they are going fast. That's what these guys have to remember.
Yep. Jesper Radek nowhere near getting an overlap at this stage, it doesn't look like, but again the camera angle from this distance is quite illusory a lot of the time. So
no, he's definitely outside the end of the line here, Jesper Radek. Torvar Murski pushed him out. Murski tacking back onto port, sailing down the line.
Murski
Still a bit of time. Jesper Radek will be able to tack back in.
3 seconds. There's the gun. Okay, so Murski gets tight to leeward. That's a fantastic start. So Radek, it looks from here like Radek got his timing wrong there.
Yeah, I think he was just forced out the left-hand side and thought he had a little bit more time. And I mean, he sailed quite a long way past the end of the line before tacking back. I think, as you say, he just got his timing slightly wrong. We were talking yesterday about winning the left and the sort of importance of that at what cost. But as you can see from your screens, the breeze has shifted a long way, and the course now very, very different to what we've been sailing over the last couple of days. So it'll be very interesting to see whether that left-hand side is still paying, or now these new conditions will change that.
Absolutely. Flat out hike from Erskine's guys again, trying to work that leeward position into an advantage to get rid of Jesper Radek. And it looks like they're moving forward there. Now the final will be coming into an entry very soon, as we come back to it. Alright, Hannah, here we go, the featured race, the final of Match Race France. This is Flight 2. It's 1-0 to Damien Yell. Bertrand Passé, his opponent, and Yell back on the port entry this time with the red sail. Passé on the right with blue.
Don't know if you heard that hooter there at the start when they entered the box, just indicating that these guys will actually be sailing to a different windward mark.
Okay, right, so that breeze has already gone right and it's going further right, I guess.
Going right all the time, yeah.
Going right and building till it's blowing dogs off chains. We'll be here tomorrow and there'll be white water, foam and salt spray on all the windows. Or not, we'll see.
Damien Yell just got himself out of that dial-up position, sailing away. Jibing onto starboard, heading away from Bertrand Passé. He was a little slow to respond there.
Yeah, no obvious advantage to either boat at this stage, I don't think. And these guys should both know how to sail this course in a mistral. It's not a condition I've seen before. It was light here last year all the way through. We sailed in the thermal. So maybe the rules change here. Again, getting pretty deep into the box, and as the breeze builds, it's important, as I've said before, to recalibrate that time and distance clock in your head. Perhaps a problem for Jesper Radek in that last pre-start, too far away from the line with too little time left, and wasn't able to put any pressure on Torvar Murski, and ended up, it looked anyway, a little late at the line. So I have 2 minutes 10 seconds. Damien jibes. Bertrand Passé decides to set up to the right.
These guys are really going to have to, as you say, work on their time and distance, because these downwind conditions are surfing conditions now out here, Mark.
Yeah.
Waves really
white
picking
caps
up.
for the first time this week. Get the sails flat. Features may need to be a little bit tighter. Sorry, looser in the chop.
Just looking up the course, Mark, it's the yellow boat. I'm not sorry, you'll have to remind me who it is, but it's the yellow boat leading at the moment.
It's Torvar Murski.
Torvar Murski, just been for the.
He was in
very
good
first
shape.
Cross.
Right, he was in very good shape off the line. We'll come back to that when we've seen how this pre-start plays out. Just 1:10 to go. Again, pretty deep in the box. Committee boat there, the pin just to the left of it, behind the white boat. And Damien Yell in red, now pushing Bertrand Passé in blue.
Yeah, Damien Yell really trying to get the hook in, I think. He's almost got it. Not quite. Bertrand Passé just trying to stay out of trouble here.
Yeah, being forced to tack away. Yell going after him to keep the pressure on. 33 seconds. Passé bailing out, doing a jibe. It'll be interesting to see if he's got time for that. They look quite a long way from the line. In that picture, certainly. 23 seconds to go. This might be all over right now. 15. Yell looks in good shape for a start. He might be a little early. I don't know, Hannah, you have a better view than I suspect.
No, he does look a little early. I think we're going to see
5, 4, 3, 2, there it is. My watch's timing is a little bit out.
Both boats not too bad actually, Mark, as it turned out.
So nice job by Passé.
keep forgetting the breeze has shifted, you know.
Yeah.
You're expecting the pin end of the line to be somewhere different, and it's not.
The breeze has shifted and got up, and Passet had plenty of time to put that jibe in and get to the pin, so he has the left. Damien has a windward position. How much separation is there between them, Hannah? They're looking side along.
About 3 boat lengths.
Okay, so Damien should be able to hold there, really.
Yeah, I would think so.
It was a question if he had too much time to kill at the end on that final approach, he was going to end up tight in on Passet and have to tack away.
Keen to get. I think there was quite a lot of as they've moved the windward mark. I think there ended up being quite a lot of bias on the line. So
right,
I think in the end he did have a quite a good start over Bertrand Passet.
Okay. So this is the flight 2, the final of flight 2, Damien and Bertrand Passet. 2 Frenchmen in the final of Match Race France. As we see Torval Mersky there coming downwind, they really are motoring, those guys. We might just go away from you, Hannah, for a moment and get an update on that other match.
Yeah, it's all. It was all Mersky, really. Mersky came off the line to leeward. The boats headed right, and Mersky was really hiking hard, and he's done a good job. He crossed ahead of Radic, and Radic just had no response. You can see the gap there. It's Mersky.
All right, so Mersky looking to take 3rd place right now. Thank you very much for that, Craig. We'll go back to Hannah and the featured match with Damien Yell and Bertrand Passet in a speed test. Still on starboard tack, Hannah?
Still on starboard tack, still with probably two boat lengths separation now, I'd say.
So Bertrand Passet working it quite hard, closing the gap. Damien trying to get across his bow, presumably, and really put the clampers on this one and shut it down.
Yeah, Bertrand Passet sailing with a slightly different setup to Damien Yell. Quite a lot harder sheeted on the main sheet, slightly flatter foot to his main as well.
The wind is up, but so is the chop, so it's a tricky balance between power and control. So there goes Damien. I can't imagine that he would tack before the ley line in that position, but we'll see.
No, it looks like he's bang on lay at the moment. Right,
so all the control with Damien from the line. A nice separated to windward start. Had his timing a little bit better than Passet, who looked a little bit late. I'm not sure that he was in the end, but certainly Yell had the advantage of the bias, as Hannah told us, and was nicely separated to windward, able to hold control, starboard tack, with Passet to leeward of him all the way out to the ley line, and will lead back comfortably. So Damien Yell looking to level this one, just as Jesper Radic did in the Petit final. We're going to get 2 3-setters. Sorry, I keep thinking, yeah, Greg's just tapped me on the shoulder again and pointed that one out. I'm sure I can hear you laughing, Hannah, picking that up. It's going to be all over, isn't it?
It is going to be all over if it carries on like this, Mark, yeah.
I'm not sure why I'm so convinced that Bertrand Passet won that first race, but clearly I am.
You asked me if I was a betting girl, and I bet on the guy that's in the front at the moment. You're trying to shatter my dreams there, Mark.
Well, I hope you got a lot of money on it, Hannah.
If only. It's not over till it's over. These guys have still got round this first windward mark and do a whole nother lap. But EL looking very strong at the moment. His boy's hiking hard.
Yep, he's going to lead round this in very good shape, I think.
I expect Damien Yell is saying to them, come on guys, this could be our last match. Hike for everything you've got.
And this run is going to be over very, very quickly too. They're going to go flying down here in these conditions in the J80.
Building all the time now. I think just before the start I reckoned with the umpires that it was about 12 knots, and I'd say it was rapidly building to probably 15 now, maybe even a touch more in the gusts, and some big waves coming in now. So these guys will be off and they will be surfing.
We'll get a time on this as Damien turns downwind for the first run of the second race in this final of Match Race France. Yes, he's worked out a nice lead there. He's held Passet all the way out to that ley line. It's 11 seconds, which is a long way in these boats in these conditions. It's chopping up quickly there, Hannah. We can really see it now as we pull into that wide shot.
Oh, Passet's got a nasty, nasty twist in his spinnaker, and they've really struggled to get it up, so that will have really helped Damien L extend his lead in this first downwind leg. These guys pumping downwind, as you can see.
Alright, as we see Mirsky and Radic come back into the picture, we'll get a little update on that from Craig as we follow them up briefly up the beat.
Yeah, it's all Mirsky. He's just nicely in control there, just working away. You know, both teams are just hiking really hard there. Looks like Radic's a little bit quicker, but Mirsky's a little bit higher.
Alright, thank you very much, Craig. That's terrific. So that's a petite final. Looks like it's going to go to Torvar Mirsky at this stage. They just have one more run to do as we come back to the featured race with Damien Yell already 1-0 up. I got it right finally. And leading down the first run, Hannah, and he looks like he's going really well down here.
Yeah, we've got a big split now. Passé started goose swinging and then was really struggling with the waves to keep the kite filled, and actually got a small twist in his forestay momentarily, and then decided to go full jibe. And Damien decided to let him go and has now tacked onto ley line, and Yell's lead is looking very comfortable at the moment as Bertrand Passé jives back onto port to head down.
Yes, that looks like a big lead. That goose swing can work, but we saw it work in Korea last year, I think, with a couple of passes. But it also, if you get it wrong and the guy just decides to ignore you and gets a good puff, you can also look pretty. You can look pretty average running it as well. Jib coming up for Damien Yell. Just one lap to go, and he will be the winner of Match Race France 2011.
Torvar Mirsky was talking earlier about Bertrand Passé's quite frightening, good, deep mode that he had downwind, and I think Bertrand Passé just tried to find that mode and really struggled. So going for a nice early hoist on the jib on both boats, and an early drop in these slightly windier conditions. Damien Yell now rounding the mark, and we will see how far his lead has extended. Bit of a nosedive there on Bertrand Passé's boat as the bowman goes forward to drop the kite. Waves coming over the bow, going for a drop slightly late. Oh, it is going to be late. It's about 15 seconds now.
Yeah, that's about what I've got, so very little in it. Passé didn't lose much in the end from that. I think it might have opened out just 2 or 3 seconds. Torvar Mirsky cannot be that far from the line. You can see him jibing. He's got a little bit. We'll come to them and get that finish. But at the moment, we'll just hold here with Passé going upwind, trying to work it, looking for an opportunity, but running out of time quite quickly.
Running out of time, really running out of time. Damien Yell looks on fire up this beat. He looks very comfortable, very settled.
Right, so we might swing down now to have a look at Torvar Mirsky. I think he's about to close this one out, Craig.
Yeah, it's just been Mirsky all the way here. He was 18 seconds ahead round that top mark, so he put a few more seconds on that beat. So Mirsky's done a really sterling job here.
Yeah, he's pulled it out. I think he'd be very, very pleased, because that whole fourth thing was really starting to get to him a little bit at the end of last year. He was very conscious that they weren't maximising their tour points in these petite finals. I think he was four times last year. And that's a fair few points. The difference between third and fourth last year was 3 points, and this year it's also 3 points again, I think. So that hasn't changed. Do that 4 times and it's 12 points on the board at the end of the year. But here he comes, smoking downwind in a J80, looking to score a place on the podium for Match Race France. Torvar Mirsky, first blood against Jasper Reddick. I'm sure this will go on all year with these two. They have to be two of the guys you think will be close to battling, well, will be battling for a podium place at the end of the year, at the very least, if not the title. Torvar Mirsky, there he is, there's the yellow flag, that's it. Torvar Mirsky wins the petite final for a third place. Jesper Radek will be fourth. Fantastic action there. Hannah, we're now coming back to you for the featured race, which must be close to the windward mark now.
Yeah, we're still a little way to go, actually. These guys stormed downwind, but obviously not quite as quick upwind, so still got a little way to go, but Damien Yell still looks pretty comfortable here. It wouldn't surprise me if Passé has got those couple of seconds that he lost downwind back again, but still it's very much Yell in contention for this championship win here.
Alright, Damien Yell on the right with the red mainsail, Bertrand Passé on the left with the blue. Yell ahead and to leeward. Obviously slightly vulnerable to a left-hand shift. close that separation down now very quickly as he tacks and crosses Bertrand Passé. Gets in a safe position between the man and the mark. Damiel on starboard, and I suspect not that far from the starboard tack ley line. It's all going to be over very, very quickly once he gets around that windward mark, that's for sure.
Well, that's no bad thing because the conditions are building up here. I now have a shoe full of water, so I think everyone will be glad, especially Damiel will be glad to finish this final and get in and have a very well-deserved beer.
Well, his teammate obviously in the French match racing team is Mathieu Richard, teammate and rival. Richard won this event last year, went on to come second in the Tour. It'll be a great, great start for Damiel. I'm sure he's done a lot of work over the winter.
Here he is coming up to the windward mark now. Good lead over Passé now as he tacks to that windward mark for the final time, hopefully.
And just get the time one last time. Transom clears the mark there. Yep, he's going to be about the same, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
Here
again,
we go. Very nice set from Damiel.
13 seconds I have, Hannah, so there's nothing in it, absolutely nothing in it, but 13 seconds is a long way in these boats in these conditions.
Yeah, and a slower set from Bertrand Passé.
I think that was the jib, took a little bit longer to come down. It's hard to get an asymmetric spinnaker to fill with the jib still up. So getting the spinnaker to the head of the mast is crucial, but so is banging that halyard off so the jib falls on the deck and obviously not in the water at the same time. But both boats now clean and sailing. Headed downwind for the last time in Match Race Farms 2011. It's nearly over, and this is the man who's going to take the chocolates. Damiel, he sailed beautifully all week, really. He always looks strong in the qualifiers. Cleanly through the quarters, cleanly through the semis, and now about to put Bertrand Passé away 2-0.
It's big talk, Mark, but I think you got it right. I think there's very little chance of Bertrand Passé being able to pull anything out of the bag here.
He's looking good with the Ibis Hotel spinnaker. He must be feeling pretty confident now. Short of gear failure, I really don't see how he's going to lose this one at this point. It's much easier to pass when it's light and sketchy. In these conditions now we have solid breeze. A boat handling error might cost him this, but really it's looking good for Damiel.
He's heading down now towards the leeward mark and the finish line. Just only a couple of boat lengths beyond.
I don't think it'll be long before we see leeward marks and committee boats coming into the frame. There's the spectator boats trailing down with the umpire team. Mirsky and Radic headed in.
I had to get the big boss Sam to make sure all the camera guys are on Damiel because there are going to be some big celebrations on board
I'm
shortly.
sure we've got every camera in the town pointed at Damiel right now as he smokes down towards the finish line of Match Race France. Take his first victory of the 2011 Tour. Will there be more? He's won Tour events before, Germany. Great confirming my suspicion. There's the leeward mark. And very, very soon, there's the committee boat.
Wait for it.
And we're looking for a...
There it is.
There it is indeed.
Yeah. You can probably hear the excitement as the umpire boat zoom up towards them. I'm going to jump on board. Simona, our onboard camera girl, will be over the moon, I can imagine.
Fantastic performance from Damiel this week in Match Race France here in Marseille to take the first event of the 2011 Tour. 2-0 in the final against Bertrand Passé. 25 points on the board for the World Match Racing Tour, a great 11.
I'm on board, Damien, congratulations!
Fantastic match, fantastic week, it's perfect. Perfect, incredible, yes!
These guys very happy. So, I mean, this was a dream scenario for you. You're here in your home country having just won Match Race France.
It's perfect, very happy for my team, for my coach, and for all in Marseille, YCPR, perfect. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Guys, anything to say? Well done, congratulations.
Ouais, thank you.
Okay, well, these guys celebrating massively on board their boat.
It's because
Lots of high fives, lots of cheering. Well done, fantastic.
because you and Simon, you gave us a luck every time you were on the boat.
There you go, Mark. I'm going to hand back to you as...
Indeed, some very, very happy boys there, Hannah. They all look extremely cheerful. So we are going to confirm that victory, I think, with the leaderboard very soon. Thank you very much for your efforts, Hannah. You're going to be on later with the Today Show. There it is, Rachel.
Yeah, these guys very happy and apparently think that it's down to Simona.
And the final
I
results, Yale
luck.
2, Passé 0, and on the petty final, Mersky 2, Radic 1.
Okay, there it is for Match Race France. That's the conclusion. I think we have a final update from Facebook from Rachel as well.
Yep, our final comment is from Nicholas Felix, who says, thank you very much for the day at World MRT. Bravo to the team for comments and live.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for being a part of it and watching and contributing through Facebook, Twitter and email and the blog. Of course, we like to give you the opportunity to be a part of the show. And once again, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. That's where we'll wrap it up for today's live race coverage, because there ain't no more racing in Match Race France in Marseille. We'll be back with the prize giving. Some last comment, Hannah will be hosting the Today Show as soon as the prize giving happens. We're expecting it to be very soon after they hit the dock, so keep an eye on the screens in the blog for an update on that timing. It's been a fantastic day sailing. It's been a fantastic week sailing. I'm sure we'll have plenty more action on this year's tour. We're in Germany in a week's time. Do join us for that. I've been Mark Chisnell, and from Rachel Hobday, Craig Mitchell and Hannah White, it's goodbye for now.